this man claims he has dirty laundry on people at City Hall. Former Chicago City Clerk James Laski, now a convicted felon, wrote what he says is a tell-all book about political corruption in this city. We'll ask him why he did that and what he wants now.
Well, the secrets are being spilled about City Hall. That is, if you believe the words of a man convicted of the same corruption he's accusing others of. Former Chicago City Clerk James Laski, who recently got sprung from prison, is publishing a tell-all book about dirty politics in Chicago, lashing out at what he calls the greed, corruption, and paranoia at City Hall. The book is called My Fall from Grace, City Hall to Prison Walls. James Laski joins us this morning. Thanks for coming in, Jim.
Good morning.
You suggest in this book that Mayor Daley knows a lot more about City Hall's dirty laundry than he lets on. Why do you believe that?
Well, I mean, I've said all along that Mayor Daley is a micromanager. He is the type of guy, and I've been with him where we took surveys of the ward when I was alderman, and he would, we would be in the car and he'd say, "Oh, look at that pothole, that stop sign's turned, that street light's broken." I mean, a guy for detail. And when we had conversation in his office about a business license proposal I had about taking over the business licenses, he sat there meticulously writing 4 or 5 pages of notes. This is a guy who has, like I said, an eye for detail.
So when he says he didn't know about the hired truck scandal?
I have a hard time believing it. I mean, I have a hard time believing that he doesn't know about hired trucks. He doesn't know about hiring practices. He doesn't know about people in his family getting contracts. He doesn't know about this. He doesn't know about that. I mean, you can only hide behind that veil of executive ignorance so long. And
Jim, I have a hard time believing you're telling us anything that you didn't tell the FBI before you were sentenced. Did you have some hard information here that...
No, Jack, here's the story. I was sitting in prison. People ask me about my motivation for writing a book, okay? I'm sitting in prison, and I'm sitting there saying, how did everything so right go so wrong? I mean, I had everything going for me, and I thought I did, and I ended up in federal prison. So I sat there, and I decided to write about my life. And I'm not only talking about Daley. What do I spend a couple chapters on Daley? I talk about politics in general. I talk about myself. I talk about my struggles with anxiety and drinking. I talk about prison life. I talk about a lot of different things. So it's just not this tell-all about Chicago politics and how I'm trying to hammer Daley. I hammer myself in the book.
But
and I talk about how politics changes a person. And Mayor Daley's part of that change. Bill Lipinski was part of that change. And just the culture of the whole business is part of a person changing myself.
But did you have any information that could have proven relevant to any ongoing federal investigations in other areas of City Hall?
I thought it was interesting, and I've had people tell me that having a meeting with the mayor of the city of Chicago, probably the most powerful mayor in the city in the country, and I told him about meetings I had. I told him about whispering. I told him about his anger about certain things towards me. I talked about Lipinski. I talked about a lot of.
One of the things you talk about in the book is the mayor, a meeting you had with the mayor, where he talked about needing to surround yourself with buffers. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that. What do you think the mayor was saying there?
You know what? Anytime there was an investigation in City Hall, and you know how many times we have investigations in City Hall. The mayor said it to me once, but other people, I mean, the Victor Reyeses, the John Doors, people in his intergovernmental affairs office. I mean, you'd be behind City Hall chambers and people would be whispering, "Did you hear anything? Did you hear anything? Did anybody contact you? How about the guys down the street?" There was a common cliche or phrase.
The guys down the street.
The guys down the street, meaning the guys on Dearborn, either the FBI or the U.S. Attorney's Office. This is not some new revelation. These words were used a lot, and the mayor happened to use it one time in a meeting in his office. Did you hear? Did you hear from the guys down the street? Have you heard anything? Have you heard anything? Anybody contact you?
So in that environment, why weren't you extremely careful about what you did?
I mean, I talk about it in the book. I said in my tenure in politics, 15 years as an elected official, I went through 3 FBI investigations and like 4 or 5 Inspector General investigations. And, it was that super optimism saying that, I'm okay, nothing will happen.
So what happened? You ran into money problems in your life and you made some bad decisions?
I didn't run into money problems. I had some so-called friends that I knew for 25 or 28 years, and I got them some trucks on with the city of Chicago, and one of them said to me, "Here, Jim, here's $500 for your family, or here's $500 for vacation, or here's just $500 for you." My problem was not helping someone get trucks on. My problem was taking the money.
Jim, you've been in Chicago politics a long, long time. You were talking before, the late 70s, early 80s, you got your start. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the culture change at all?
No.
Not at all.
It's
Even with all the activity over
just
at the
different ways of doing
building.
things.
Really?
Just
How
different
so?
ways. I don't know. I just think people try to be a little more careful. I mean, look at the headlines every day. I mean, the FBI moves from city to county to state, back to the city. The largest FBI contingent is located in what city in this country?
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah, for political
So
corruption.
for what reason? You know the reason. It's just the culture of the business.
Well, why can't anybody break that cycle? Because they're in control of it?
You know what? And when my good friend Miriam Santos went to prison, you know, I says, oh, you know, I said to myself, I said, just this can't happen to me. I got to be careful. I mean, you know, it's not going to happen to me. And guess what? It did. And again, you just get caught up in a situation. I'm not perfect. I'm a human being who made a mistake. I don't walk on water, and I took money from former friends, and that's why I ended up in federal prison.
And very quickly, Mayor Daley the other day commented on some of the allegations you're making in your book. Let's hear what the mayor has to say.
Jim Laski's had a lot of personal problems in his life and challenges. I know his family, and just get on with his wife, get on with his family, and handle his own situation. I'm not going to resign to his personal challenges.
What do you
So,
think?
Jim, the argument essentially is that you're a man without a country here. You got out of prison, you decided to write a tell-all book. Wouldn't conventional wisdom in politics and the system that you've been steeped in all your life suggest to you that you go in, you do your time, you come out, you keep your personal friendships?
You know what? It was a very, very difficult time for me in prison, and the only people I was concerned about and cared about was my wife and my children. Okay, I lost my city job, I lost my pension, I lost my law license, but most importantly, I lost my wife and my children for 17 months. Okay, and I lost my freedom. That was what was important to me. I came out of prison, and I am going to get on with my life, and I felt it was a cleansing experience for me to write this book. It was therapy for me when I wrote 600 pages in prison every day, longhand, 600 pages, and it was therapy for me. I felt good about it, and like I said, I talk more than just, you know, about Daley and some of the politicians. I talk about my life. I talk about how I grew up, and I talk about law school. I talk a little bit about everything. I talk about prison. So
more chapters to be written too,
yes.
I'm sure.
So I'm, you know, yeah, who knows? I might just write another book.
Jim, thank you very much.
Jim, thanks.